Good morning, saints. It's me again. Sorry. I cannot start without acknowledging Jessica's prayer, and particularly with this our theme for today, awe and wonder, and how easy it is for us when we are so more often than we should, and how often do we start moving too fast, how we don't leave room anymore to feel amazed when we're intertwined in routine and everything that is happening around us. And that's exactly how it feels. I have to say that in the political climate of this country, I'm facing a real challenge, because I am a very political person, and I do believe in the God's dream of a kingdom of God, and I do believe this is meant to become a reality, and I do believe that politics play a key role in all of this. And it's such a struggle for me not being in my country, and then I feel my guts every time. And this political climate and everything that is happening around us, the humanitarian crisis around us with the on-house situation, on-house people, the problem of particularly in our city of San Mateo, the prices of the rent, people not unable to stay, these heartbreaking stories that we've been listening as we have been working in this campaign of our home San Mateo, that I'm very happy that we're part of as a church. It's so heartbreaking. It's so, I would say, spiritually, sometimes I need to reground myself and make room for awe and wonder. And I want to thank Jessica for that prayer this morning, because I really needed it. I really needed this moment to be centered. And this is something that I believe we all need. And this is my invitation for all of us today. Awe and wonder. And as you know, I'm a kind of a quirky person. We'll do something quirky today. I will come down with some microphones, and I'll ask you questions today. I know. I'm one of those ministers. Yes, I'm one of those. Those who have been here on Wednesday gathering, buckle up, because I am preaching. Beloved saints, we're too anxious sometimes to feel curious. We are too overwhelmed to feel awe. We forget the beauty of all God's blessings around us. That's me. That's been me recently. With political climate, with New Year ahead, planning, programming, but also having so many opportunities to dream. And I will share with you how I encounter spaces and moments and opportunities for awe and wonder, to be marveled by what God is doing among us, in my life and here at CCSM. Because I have it very clear, and I hope you have it today. But we'll start with our tricky part today. Saints, where do you feel inspired? What inspires you today? These are the questions that we're going to answer right now. When was the last time that you felt the sense of wonder? Was it because of nature, as we sang today, but of all the beauty of the earth? Some people find awe and wonder as they gaze the stars, when they see the beauty of the sea, when they go to the beach. Where is it? When was the last time that you found yourself full of awe and wonder? That's a question. And would you please share it with us? So I'm going to step down with the microphone and feel free. And dear members of the choir, if you want to. Thank you. When was the last time that you felt surrounded by beauty, by love, by silence, by so many things? Krista, thank you, Krista. Breaking the ice. Here we go.
A few years ago, we went to, I think it was Jedediah Smith State or National Park. I'm not too sure about the name. but it is in the very northern part of California, and there is an absolutely incredible redwood grove there. It was, I really felt like I was at a church. It was so amazing and so peaceful. I really was awestruck.
Thank you, Krista. Thank you. Here we go, Philip. There you go.
Hi, I'm Philip Zamora, and I'm a composer. I write music. I do, and I was sitting at my office putting this one piece together, and I looked out my window, and I have a bird feeder out there. And as I'm struggling to put the melodies together, the harmonies and the counterpoint and all that kind of good stuff, these birds landed right in front of me on the bird feeder and started singing. And that connected me to a higher power and God.
Oh, man. Thank you, Philip. Wow. Thank you.
My last attendance at the San Francisco Symphony when they played the Brahms Fourth Symphony.
I know we're a very musical church, aren't we?
Yesterday in the Tenderloin, I worked with some children, and we did in an auditorium, had their trick or treat because it's not that safe to walk around that community. So we cooked about 200 hot dogs. We did a bunch of candied apples, and we made sure that they had a safe and wonderful costume party.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you. Somebody else? Dave.
Yeah, and we're surrounded in Golden Gate Park with the beauty of the park and by 5,000 people smiling and dancing, of people of all stripes, getting along really well and listening to music. It was great.
Energizing, isn't it? Mike?
Last night we were returning from the Central Valley. We landed on the San Mateo Bridge at 7 o'clock to the most glorious sunset I have seen in years.
There's hope around us, isn't it? June?
I feel awe and wonder every time I see the hummingbirds in my garden.
Hummingbirds in your garden. Thank you very much. Anybody else? There we go. I love it. You see, we should do this more often. Betsy.
Hi, I'm John Five's sister, and I feel awe and wonder when I see all of the love that you all and others have shown to John and Ann over the last 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. Thank you for sharing. No. Ago.
My name is Sue, and I have a sense of wonder every time I look at my brand new great-grandson.
Thank you very much for sharing. So.
I'm not going to tell you where I stand, but I'm so energized by the presence of young people who actually went to Nevada, being a swing state. 3 buses of young people there knocking door to door just to make their stand clear. And I'm also part of the phone banking. We were 60 people on the line yesterday talking to people, heart to heart, where we should go as a country. By that, I'm energized.
There we go. Well done, yes. Thank you very much, Ago. Anybody else? Awe and wonder. Dear Brenda?
I've been kind of missing in action the last few weeks, and I decided I was coming to church today, even though I have something I should be doing at home. And I walked in here. First of all, there was only 1 space in the parking lot left, but I got it.
Boom!
And I walked in here, and I saw so many people that I love, and they were welcoming. And I said, I made the right decision. I
Amen.
came to church today.
Amen, Brenda. Thank you. We found awe and wonder in places when we are loved, right? With people that love us. Amy.
Hi, I'm Amy. I work with little children who are deaf and hard of hearing, and I am in awe of them every day because I get to watch them meet milestones and learn and grow closer to their families. I love it.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you. Chris? There's Jessica, right next to you.
I'm Chris, and this is very simple. I walk the dog every day, and I've noticed that too often people who are out also walking dogs or walking just by themselves or running or something avoid eye contact. It's interesting. And just within the last week, I noticed a woman across the street who was walking by herself, and I just felt that she looked as she was in some kind of depth. And I stopped, and I looked at her, made eye contact with her. She didn't see me, but it made her stop and look at me. And I waved and said, hello. And she said, thank you. Thank you very much. And I think sometimes people it's awe to them that they are even noticed. And people need that so much.
Amen. Thank you, Chris, for sharing. Anybody else? One last one? Saints in the choir? Thank you, Susan. Coming back, regrouping. Here we go. Regrouping in the chancel. Here we go.
Well, I can be awe-inspired with my senses every day. But last weekend, we were able to be at our son's wedding, and I was so surprised and amazed by not only our family members who attended, but friends from this area who came all the way down there. And it just was a feeling of love that is enduring. It's amazing to me that friendships and relationships can endure for so long.
Thank you, Susan, for sharing. Thank you. We are people of hope, aren't we? How we are, trying to grasp into beauty, into hope, into acts of kindness, and into connection, into relationship, into love. We're trying to grasp into life and how amazing this is. I want to share with you that I used to go, we had this practice with my friends in school, and when I was a teenager, with this, beloved saints, a confession. With my friends in school, we would escape the second part of Friday, day at school, and one of them would own, it was, kind of a privileged person, and his family owned a house in the beach. So we will sneak out school on Fridays afternoon after lunch, and we will drive to the beach. And we will stay the whole weekend. What you will not believe is that my parents, the majority of the time, wouldn't even realize that I was not at home. Right? That fills me with awe and wonder and still today. Like, oh my goodness. Yes, I haven't been here for a while, and okay. Oh, here, are you hungry? Would you like some lunch? No, I'm like, Yeah, so that was a blessing for me, I have to say. Right? The time for confession. But with my friends, and I cannot tell you how many times I have cried in the seashore. How many times I have left myself filled with awe and wonder in the presence of Almighty Sea. We would go and we would eat and we would play and spend the day in the beach. And then we will do something to eat at night. We will listen to music, read poems. We will gaze at the stars at night and fell asleep in the beach. When I go to the beach, I re-energize myself. There's a cleansing power in the waves, in the salt that comes from the sea. It's so re-energizing. And there is where I remember gazing at the stars, and I remember we will get this very old book with all stars, constellations, and we will start looking for them for hours until we fell asleep. Gazing at the stars is where I have found my connection with my God for so many times. Hildegard von Bingen, one of my favorite saints ever, and we can talk for hours about why she's one of my favorite saints. She said once, glance at the sun, see the moon and the stars, gaze to the beauty of the earth's greenings, and now think what delight God gives to humankind with all these things. All nature is at the disposal of humankind. We are to work with it, for without we cannot survive. I find awe and wonder when I'm surrounded by nature. I have been surrounded by awe and wonder here in San Francisco when Kiwi and I went to an adventure into the AIDS Memorial, a small forest that they have there, and we had this amazing sound bath with chalk. The mere presence of those beautiful trees, the presence of sacredness among us, was heartbreaking, was opening myself to my beloved God, to the divine who is bigger than we are. As a person, as a Christian, I know I'm up with this and other confession saints, and I know this is loaded with religious and spiritual trauma, but I have to say this, those who know me, I'm a Jesus freak. I am a Jesus freak. There's nothing in my entire life that have caused me more awe and wonder than trying to find out this mysterious, amazing, attractive, mighty, marvelous person of Jesus Christ. In this passage of Scripture we've heard today, we heard this kind of a bloody depiction, Paul's theology. Right, all this blood, Jesus in heavens. I am not quite a friend of this, bloody depictions of Christ. But, this, when God, according to Thomas Aquinas, when God hid himself in Christ Jesus, this hidden God in the person of Christ finally revealed to us because of love is what we just heard. Jesus, for me, and I understand in this scripture, was the supreme in the beginning and leading the resurrection parade for all of us. Resurrection for our deepest desires of new life, of a life worth living, of love and relationships that are worth living. The many ways and the many times we resurrect every day. The many times that are tired or weary, humankind needs to resurrect. He is leading the way to resurrection for us. Jesus, from beginning to the end, is towering far above everything and everyone and for everyone. So spacious is he, so expansive that everything of God finds its proper place in him without crowding. There's place and there's room for all in Christ Jesus. In God's dream in Christ Jesus for all of us. There's enough room in Christ for all. Even if we don't look like, even if we don't think like, even if grind culture and ferocious capitalism tells us not. Christ is the true face of God. Jesus, my beloved, my Redeemer, my friend, my parent, my sibling, my liberator. And this is a mystery to be deconstruct all our broken and dislocated pieces of our world, of our lives, of our society, of our politics, all these disconnected pieces and broken pieces of the universe. People and things and animals and atoms and everything find meaning and harmony and become a symphony and become the most beauty of the hymns in Christ Jesus. And so we do. We get properly fixed in Christ. We fit together with vibrant harmonies, harmonies of love and relationships, harmonies that sound beautiful. I wish I would sing that beautifully, right? As the people, we're musical people, aren't we, church? Oh, yes, we do. We do like our tunes. We love our bells. And how beautiful it is to be filled with awe and wonder as we praise our loving God. When we grasp into hope and we let God do this resurrection miracle in all of us and through all of us. There's a connection in all of us, in everything we do. There's a beautiful thing that God is making in our lives, in our midst, in this church, in this time of our lives. The last time I found myself in awe and wonder with God was in a meeting that we had with the leadership of Latino ministry 1 year or so. And they asked me to come to this meeting because they wanted to ask me if I was willing to stay here for a year in this church. And of course, I expressed all my warnings. Okay, just look at me, right? Number one. Number two, I am a queer minister. I am a deeply and powerful political person. You know, I'm those ministers have been chained outside, you know, the agricultural ministry of Costa Rica, you know, making a riot against Monsanto and their transgenic seeds. That's me. I've never been reluctant about speaking about my queerness and how I am beloved by God and how I am who God says that I am. Are you ready for it? Are you really willing to have this? And the most beautiful thing was not for me, what filled me with awe and wonder was just not the love of this community, but God choosing me again to do something in this world. Me, this human being, small human being, I know it doesn't look like small, right? 2XL doesn't sound like small, I know. But then me, with everything that I am, with my history, with my mistakes, with my wrong decisions, with my past, but with a glorious future in Christ, being chosen by this loving God to work for Him here. I have seen all this time God still speaking, and we say it. We say God's still speaking, but I want to add to that, God is at work here in us. In a year, I have seen this church being transformed. I have seen the most beautiful and sincere hearts and smiles. And it's your love, my dear CCSMers, and your willingness to reimagine your life with God that fills me the most with awe and wonder. Is this willingness, is this determination of continuing the work of God after 160 years. I was preaching on Wednesday and I was saying, as I was preparing my sermon, I was thinking, can you believe the power of $5? Right, nowadays you cannot even buy a hamburger with $5. FYI, I know you don't eat those horrible things. I do. You cannot even buy a hamburger with $5. And if we go back in time, there was a group of people here in this city that bought this land for $5 and never thought what God was about to do in their lives and in this city. Would you believe that we are the result of those $5? Of that commitment, of that love, of these people that led themselves to be reimagined, the purpose of their lives, of their finances, of everything they owned and were by God. This is what happens, and this is a gift, and this is our hope for transformation. As we've heard in Scripture today, everything is reconciled in Christ. And the work of reconciliation and transformation is already started. It started 160 years in the same place where we are right now. As we marvel and we feel wonder and awe about our in everyday lives, I want to make an invitation to you today. Would you just look around for a moment and understand, and we said this so many times, we find Christ in one another, don't we? Would you please look around and acknowledge Christ's presence in each other? Right? Sometimes it's difficult, I know. Sometimes it's like, really, Jesus, is this you? Right? I know how it feels. But look around the people around. Look around these people. These is the people that God had put together in this time, in our generation, so we can continue to reimagine not only our lives, but the life of the church in this neighborhood, the life of this city, the life of this county, the life of this state, the life of this nation, and the life of this world. Look around. These are our partners in crime. I cannot but say, but I rejoice for the partners in crime that I have in you. I celebrate for being here. I celebrate that God still fills me with awe and wonder every time that I think what God is doing in my life and in our shared lives in this church. And when I'm full with awe, I sing. Horribly, I know. I try my best, church. And I know it comes tunes to our minds and our hearts. When we think, I think, how great thou art. That comes to my mind immediately. Would you please bring to your mind what is the song that you sing when you're full with awe and wonder? When you're surrounded by the love of your loving Creator, would you bring it? What is it that you do? How is that you live this secret affair, this secret infatuation with your loving God? These moments, the secret moments with the hummingbirds in your garden, when you're serving hot dogs and chocolates and sweets and caramel apples with kids, when you're surrounded, when you grasp on hope for the beloved community that sustains you. Is there a song that you sing?